Representative Meeks, you recognize for question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it. I realize the time is short with lunch coming up, so I'll attempt to keep things short here. The first thing is basically just an observation based on what Senator Sanders said, because you said once you get into the second year, there's a possibility that people will start reaching their cap, and then we won't particularly have to fund it. But I hope that when you're utilizing the program, that you'll also understand too that once people start reaching the cap, they may say, well, I need to use the system, otherwise I'm losing all this money. And so it may also have a negative effect of, in that second year, of them just going to the doctor just so they don't lose that money or lose that benefit. So I would hope that you would take a look at that. Second, or my other question is, when we were first looking at doing the private option or Medicaid expansion or whatever the case may be, we came up, if I remember correctly, with an estimate of around 90,000 people who were below 100% who we thought would come out of the woodwork. Can you explain, or are we looking at how we are so far off on the estimated number of those below 100% that are utilizing the private option?
So let me just make sure that we've got a common understanding that this woodwork effect is those people who were already eligible for traditional Medicaid, who because their friend got on the private option, they went and signed up for traditional Medicaid. Your 90,000 number, I think, is much higher than we actually estimated. We'll go back and get what that is. My recollection is it was 20 or 30,000 out of the 250,000 that we thought might become funded by Medicaid under the private option or traditional. So of the numbers that the Spearman gave you, all of those are private option enrollees in a qualified health plan and are not woodwork effective. Those are new enrollees of the total targeted 230,000 newly eligible, previously not eligible individuals that the private option is enabled to get coverage.
Okay, because that, again, at one point I just thought that there was an 80,000 that we thought were between the 17% and 100% who might come in and sign up for either Medicaid or the private option, when we were doing the discussion a couple of years ago. And again, it's been a couple of years, so my numbers may be off.
So again, above 17%, if they weren't disabled, they weren't eligible for traditional Medicaid. So that wouldn't be the woodwork effect. That would be newly qualified individuals under the private option. And we can get the split on those. We can go back and revisit the numbers if you'd like to. I think just from a programmatic perspective, our enrollment numbers are doing well. We're at about 180,000 out of 220,000 targeted as of this month. The age of our enrollees are buying down the risk pool in the insurance exchange. I think we've shared with you before, the second healthiest insurance exchange in the nation because of the private option 10-year age-adjusted buy down. So I think everything is working as we expected. And it's not to say we haven't had some bumps in the road with different aspects of the program, but we're working through those. I think these new additions, we're on a timeline. We're actually going to have to be more aggressive in the timeline you put in place to have an effect through a competed contract and so forth by January 1st. So I think we'd be glad to come back and revisit numbers with you.
And on that note, are we doing projections? CBO, our Congressional Budget Office in Washington, D.C., we usually look 5 to 10 years to take a look at the cost of a program. They've done it with the Affordable Care Act. Are we now starting to rerun the numbers so we will have them next legislative session to say, okay, in 5 years, based on current numbers, current projections, or whatever, this is what it will start costing the state when we have to do our share?
So to get a trend, you have to have at least 2 points, and you'd like to have 3 points. We have the first point, which were what the premiums were and the cost of the plan in the year that we're in now. The carriers are now submitting their year 2 premiums to the insurance department, who then will review and submit them to the feds for approval. We probably won't have those premium prices until sometime in September or October to go to open enrollment. So in September or October, you're going to have 2 points, which will give you a 2-point trend. That's your solid number going into the next legislative session. Then before the program requires reauthorization, you'll have 3 points. You'll have fall of 2015, so that you'll actually have a 3-point trend line going into decisions about the 5 to 10 year projections on the cost of the program.
Well, my concern is the fact that, we only meet every 2 years. We want to try to avoid a special session if we can. And so really, the 2015 session that we're going to have at the beginning of the year, we're going to have to make some decisions, because the 3 years, in my understanding, it ends December 31st of 2016, which means we won't have the 17th session yet in place. So we're going to have to make some very important, solid decisions based on probably only 2 points, because we won't have that third point. And so, again, this is something that we just need to try to get the best information as we move forward.